I hate Stevie Nicks. With every fiber of my mortal being, I hate her. I hate her voice. I hate her face. I hate her name. I am 14 years old. And sitting in the back of my mother's old Ford Windstar, my whole family is there with me. There is a seething rage building up like bile in the back of my throat and intense pressure behind my eyes. I want to cry, but I do not want to be teased by my siblings. I was feeling as low as a disappointed 14-year-old kid can in a moment like this. I looked down at my hand. In it is a few concert tickets that read, Fleetwood Mac, Cynthia Woods, Pavilion, June 17th, rain or shine. Rain or shine. What a joke. 30 minutes earlier, I had a different ticket in my hand, nearly identical to the tickets I was currently holding, only where the current ticket read Fleetwood Mac, the other read George Lopez. And instead of June 17th, the other had today's date. One thing was the same on each ticket though, which was the last line. Rain or shine! A few months prior, my oldest brother came home one day with a burned CD on which his friend had written George Lopez. It was Lopez's stand-up act, team leader. My brother had often brought home CDs of stand-up comedians, and I always appreciated it. It's how I was first introduced to some of the all-time greats like George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, and Robin Williams. However, the day my brother brought home the George Lopez album was different. You see, I am a Mexican-American. My parents and two of my three siblings were born in Mexico. Although I grew up in a bilingual household, it was always hard for me to fit in to American for my Hispanic peers, to Hispanic for my American peers. I didn't care much for Latin music, and the people on TV didn't look like me unless my mom was watching her telenovelas. I was turning into quite a little metalhead at 14 years old, and I could hardly speak Spanish well enough to keep up with my mom's soap operas. Then came along George Lopez, a Mexican-American comedian who created jokes and premises unlike anything I'd heard before, comedy that was culturally relatable. I know he was not the first to make it big, but Lopez was my introduction to Latino kings of comedy. My family and I adored Team Leader. We howled with laughter at George's stand-up and would spend the next few weeks quoting our favorite routines. Not too long after that, we got word that Lopez was actually coming to town. How terrific it would be to see him live, I thought. I knew my family couldn't afford such a luxury, so I did not even bother to ask. I just dreamed. Then, to my surprise, I came home from school one day and was told by my sister that my family had secured tickets. I couldn't believe it. Miss McGee would call it a statistical anomaly. At this point in my life, I'd never been to a comedy show or concert of any kind, so this was a very big deal to me. Finally, the day arrived. George Lopez. Tonight. I had seen the weather report, but thanks to statistics in Miss McGee's class, I wasn't worried about it. The forecast for tonight was a 40% chance of rain. It was cloudy, but it wasn't raining. Sure, the 40% chance of rain sounds bad, but to my young mind, it sounded more like there was a 60% chance it wouldn't rain. Those are pretty good odds, at least according to my 8th grade math teacher, Mrs. McGee. Plus, the ticket said rain or shine. That meant the show was going to happen no matter what. Only it didn't. When we got to the entrance of the pavilion in the Windstar, there was an employee who informed us that tonight's performance was canceled due to the forecasted weather. She added that the show would be rescheduled in a few weeks and the tickets would be purchased. The tickets purchased would be honored on the new date, April 30th. To further compensate us, she gave us a stack of lawn tickets to another upcoming concert. Fleetwood Mac. My family was disappointed, to be sure. We had this great night planned, and it was ruined. Although I held the Fleetwood Mac tickets in my hand, I was thinking about the new date for George Lopez. My mother turned the Windstar around. April 30th. Why is that date significant? The Windstar began to drive home. No. Oh, no. Shit, fuck, no. It dawned on me, April 30th was the date of my 8th grade dance. I already had a date. I already bought our tickets. She already bought her dress. Not only was she my date, she was my girlfriend. I couldn't cancel on her. We bought the photo package. We were going to eat at Bennigan's afterward with some friends and then see the late showing of Mean Girls. Everyone else in the minivan was going to see George Lopez in a few weeks, not me. The rage crept up in my throat and the pressure built behind my eyes. I stared down at the Fleetwood Mac tickets in my hand and projected all of my anger and sadness at them. At that moment, I declared in my mind that on this day and forever, ever after, I hate Stevie Nicks. The weeks went by, and the day of my 8th grade dance arrived. I picked up my date, and we slow danced in the school's cafeteria to Jessica Simpson's Take My Breath Away. We kissed on the dance floor. I thought I was in love. We took our photo package photos, which I don't think I ever received. We went on a double date to Bennigan's. We saw the 10 p.m. showing of Mean Girls. Despite the great night I had with my date and my friends, in the back of my mind, I could not forget that the rest of my family was at the pavilion and they were watching George Lopez. I got over it. As best as I could anyway. My family said George was good, but they had not told too many new jokes, which they probably lied about. But it is a lie I appreciate. I ended up giving the Fleetwood Mac tickets to my girlfriend's mother, who was such a fan, she had named her other daughter Stevie. In return, her mother gave me an old First Act electric guitar my girlfriend no longer used or wanted as a thank you. For a budding metalhead, getting my first electric guitar was a big deal. I still play in a rock band to this day, and I have to wonder if my life would have gone down the same path had George Lopez performed in the rain that night in spring. However, I still carry that chip on my shoulder. For years and years, I hated Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop thinking about how much your band sucks, I would say. Not super clever, but it felt good to be so petty. One day in October of 2020, things changed. The world was at the height of the pandemic, and I was in a very dark place mentally. A lot of people were, and who could blame them? It was hard to find joy in the little things when everything around me felt like it was falling apart. Then this video pops up out of nowhere. It's of a man riding his skateboard, drinking ocean spray cranberry juice, and grooving to the song Dreams. It was captivating and funny. The way he so happily rode around drinking his juice made me feel a little better. I must have watched it 10 times to vibe right along with the skater. Then I started paying attention to the song. I'd never heard it before, but I loved it. It was beautiful, but in a haunting way. The video only played a snippet, but I had to hear the whole thing. I needed to hear it. That song would lift me out of my dark place. I just knew it. So I looked it up, and wouldn't you know it, it was Fleetwood Mac. Maybe Stevie Nicks isn't so bad after all. Thank you.
All right. Wow. I see y'all stop whenever I come around. I don't know why that is. Okay, all right. Yeah, all right. Yeah. You know, never meet your heroes. That's true. I can attest to that, you know. Every time a kid comes up to me, I say, get the fuck away from me. We're going to go ahead and move into the next story. Called Friendship Isn't Magic. Written by Mr. Universe, Andrew Cosma. And read by Andrew the Beret Barrett.